Hi Bengt and Sammy. We look forward to showing you our recommendations for your presentation at Save the Rhino Roundtable. In this video, we'll not give you the full speech, but we'll instead focus on the key points on how to conduct your presentation. Before we'll start with the recommendations, we have some few points in relation to how you should present your speech. First of all, you need to be out in the open and not hide behind a desk or a chair, just like me and Christian. This will show confidence and ensure that there's not created a distance between the audience and you as a speaker. Removing the physical barriers will enhance dialogue and create openness. Secondly, it is important that you keep eye contact with your audience and focus on non-verbal communication, such as using hand gestures, not having your hands in your pocket, and fumbling with your hands. Lastly, you also need to consider the cultural barriers which could be present at the meeting. In this case, we recommend you to not use any kind or form of sarcasm, since some people who has a different cultural background could misinterpret it. Moreover, you also need to adapt your English to your audience and make sure that everybody present actually understand what you're saying.
Yes, and moving on to the second slide, which is concerned with your learning point from 2014. Here you should discuss the Marius case and what you learned from the experience. We recommend that you give an account of what happened, including mentioning the media storm that you did not expect. Then you should discuss how you dealt with the media storm, as well as your learning outcomes from the situation. Also, during this slide, we recommend that you give a narrative in order for the participants to relate to a story. Sammy could, for example, say that he was sat in his office and his phone started to ring and it barely stopped ringing until the media storm was dealt with. Using a narrative such as this, an actual story from the situation, will add a personal touch and an inside perspective on how you experienced the Marius case. When presenting the effect the media storm had on Copenhagen Zoo, you should mention how your experience can help other zoos in a similar situation. Lastly, it is important that you mention how easy it is to get misinterpreted by the public and how much an effect that can have on your zoo.
Yes, and regarding the first slide, which is reputation and mission statement, you should emphasize the importance and effect of Copenhagen Zoo's educational aspect. In this case, you should discuss the pros and cons deriving from educating the public, such as the autopsy of Marius, to show other zoos that their actions potentially can be misinterpreted. Lastly, you should emphasize the importance of everything Copenhagen Zoo does is based on science and will continue to be so.
Yes, and looking at the fourth slide, which is concerned with your future strategy, you should again talk about the Marius case. You should also emphasize the importance of having a solid strategy in place in terms of crisis communication, which could have helped you in your recent media storm. Here we recommend that you mention what you have done specifically, such as your use of platforms and your procedures during the crisis. Hereafter, you could ask if some of the other zoos have a strategy in order for crisis communication. Doing this would involve the other participants of the meeting, and it could enhance knowledge sharing between your zoos and their zoo. Lastly, you should mention your culture and the future prospects for Copenhagen Zoo, just very briefly in order to show how you believe a future zoo could be run. These are our recommendations for you. We hope that you take them to heart, and best of luck with your presentation.